and welcome to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports, episode number 6. It's your good friend Jimbo here. King is still out in the Jersey headquarters, but we are slowly getting closer to getting back on the same page as far as me and him go. I was quite surprised that he didn't have a show last week. With the Stanley Cup's finals being over now, and Washington Capitals finally getting that monkey off their back, and winning it. Seemed like a good series. The first game was very competitive, and even the last game that the Capitals won, I watched the last two of the games. I watched about a period and a half, 2 periods, because I had work early the next day, but didn't want to go to bed because I was watching. But we'll get more into that. Kind of give you a little update of why we haven't been around in about 2 weeks. Actually, last week in Northeast PA, we actually had a tornado come through. That came through on a Wednesday. Myself, I lost power. It actually hit about a half a mile from our house. And King's parents' house had some nasty wind also. They didn't have a twister, but it was definitely an interesting storm. And then Thursday, I went camping for the weekend. Oh, excuse me. I was hoping to get one out Sunday for you guys, but by the time I came home and got my running around done and unpacking everything, it was already late and I was already tired. But enough of that. We're here to talk sports and all the things that happened this past week. And like I said, we'll talk about the Stanley Cup, which was about it was 2 weeks ago. We had the NBA Finals, Cleveland losing to the Golden State Warriors, and was it LeBron's last game with the Cavaliers? We won't know for a couple more weeks. I think they said July is when free agency will hit, and I'm sure he'll make it a big to do. What team he's going to go to. There's a lot of speculation. The Sixers, he's going back to the Heat, he's going to the Rockets. Well, not the Rockets. He already came out and said he doesn't like Houston. But will he go to the Lakers? I know the Lakers aren't too happy with Ball. They told him he's not allowed to the summer league. I think it's mostly because of his father. His father is a douchebag. Even his league that he started out, no one showed up for it. NBA draft was last night. Just seeing stuff on Twitter, and I don't think a lot of people were happy with my Sixers. I know LeVar Ball wasn't happy his other kid didn't get drafted. How dare them not draft my kid? If he couldn't make it overseas, he's not making it here. But and then tonight, other than the NFL draft, this will probably be the second biggest draft, especially for me since I'm still fairly new, about 4 years really following hockey now. But tonight's their draft, 7:30. Actually going on right now. Started about 15 minutes ago. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. A little NFL talk with about Jameis Winston possibly being suspended. And then maybe finishing the show with a little bare knuckle boxing. Announcing a new date. But so let's start back 2 weeks ago with the Stanley Cup Finals. Like I said earlier, in the start of the show, before we get into there, You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Jimbo, ST Sports. You can follow the show at ST Sports Podcast. Or you can follow King at King of Skunk Duck. And check out some of his shirts too on Teespring. He's a really good graphic designer. It seems like almost every week he's coming up with a new shirt to put out there, and you can either go to his Facebook page, or I share the post either on my personal Twitter account or Facebook account, and the show also. So even any graphic jobs, give him a call, hit him up. And then also you could go to our website, staytunesports.wordpress.com. You could also hear us on iTunes, Google Play. If you have an iPhone, you gotta use the Podbean app. But if you have an Android, you actually search for us now. That just happened this past week. And also, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted I think it was like 2 days ago, that you can find us on iTunes now also. So we're slowly getting there. It's just a matter of getting me and King on the same page here. Trying to work this bug out to get connected, but we're close. So back to the freshly crowned Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals. Like I said, the series was a very competitive series. It was really good and fun series to watch. With myself, I wish I could have watched every game, the whole game, but unfortunately with it being during the week and with me having work, I can only watch a period or two. But even just going to sleep after the second period, I couldn't go to sleep because I was so pumped up and excited for it. In Vegas, I'm sorry, they put such a great pre-show on. I know it's hockey, and you're supposed to just get into it and let's start playing. But man, they really put a show on. I mean, it's Vegas. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be big? Speaking of Vegas, we opened up the season with them too, the Flyers. So I'm interested to see that game. I'm interested to see how Vegas plays next year, where they're a one-hit wonder. With the Flyers, there's still a couple questions, especially with tonight's draft going on. Wayne Simmons, being part of trade rumors, stuff like that. I hope they don't trade him. He's been a consistent player. If there's one player that I wouldn't mind seeing go, would be Ratko Gudas. When I first started getting into the Flyers, I liked him because he has that physicality to him, and that's how hockey used to be played 10, 15 years ago. And that's how Simmons plays also. But Simmons at least is averaging 28 goals a season since joining with the Flyers, I believe it was. So he's been consistent, but that's all that Gudas really does, and especially in the playoffs. There was a couple questionable plays that he did that I just don't understand. But we'll find out tonight. With the draft, you got Buffalo as the number 1 pick, and Philly has the 14th and 19th. Are they gonna combine them and move up, higher to get a better player that they really like, or do they stand pat? The Jersey Devils, Kings team, has the 17th pick. To be honest, I'm not really sure what direction they would be going towards. Pittsburgh, the Penguins, don't even have a first-round pick. I think they traded it to Ottawa. But I mean, yeah, they're kind of good up there in age, but they're still a talented group, so it's not like they need that many holes filled. I know Phil Kessel has been part of a lot of trade rumors also. But a lot of goalies have been available, it seems like, as far as trades. You got think I'm gonna probably pronounce his name wrong, but Grubar from the Capitals, Craig Anderson from the Senators were just a couple I seen throughout the week. I think as far as Philly goes too, I think they got to revisit the whole goalie situation too. Brian Elliott, he'd be a good backup. Hart, that's in our farm system. I don't think he's ready to take full-time duty over. I think they should try to package Neuvert somehow and pick up a better goalie than the kid that we got from the Red Wings. I think we picked him up hoping that he could get us through this little hump of a year till Hart was ready to come up and Elliott could kind of train him and things like that, but it just didn't work out, obviously. But to all the players that entered the draft tonight, good luck. I hope you get picked and by a team that you were hoping for, and everything works out for you guys. Also, this past week was Barry Trotz, a former coach of the Capitals, resigned as head coach, and turns out it was more of a owner lowballing him than Trotz wanting to leave. Sounded like he had an opt to pick up one more year, and the money that he would have been getting was well below the average for the type of coach he is, and he asked for a raise, and the ownership basically said no, which I think is a stupid play on their part, because okay, yes, they finally won it this year, but they've been competitive, making the playoffs since I started watching, maybe even longer. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think the ownership really dropped the ball here, and you're gonna see this team maybe not necessarily go to first to worst, but first to crappy. I'm glad Ovechkin got one before this all happened to him. And even watching the videos of him, doing kind of like the Ovechkin tour, or Stanley Cup tour, whatever you want to call it. He's going to the Washington Nationals, tailgating and doing basically cake stands out of them, and he's a player that I love to hate. I respect. It's just that he's so good that you want to hate him. But watching those videos, I had a laugh. I had a chuckle. And I'm glad that he was able to finally get one. Being in the league for a long time. But then, like I said, with Trotz stepping down, and I think it was like 2 days later, the Islanders signed him. I know King's been big on the new GM that the Islanders hired, saying that this GM is gonna really turn them around, and when Trotz signed, that's a big get. You're bringing in a big name coach, a well-respected coach. He's not a up and down coach. He's a proven winner. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the Islanders do this coming season. To be honest, with the Trotz signing, I could see them pulling off like a Flyers Devils type thing from this past season, that we were supposed to be completely garbage, and we both made the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but I think they're going to be competitive just from his experience. And I kind of agree with King. Give it a couple years, and you might see a competitive Islanders team. But since the hockey season has ended, though, I mean, I know it's only been 2 weeks. It's really making me realize how much I do like hockey. I already miss it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. Like, what do you guys do between sports seasons? Like, me personally, I like obviously following football, NFL, college. Normally, after hockey season, I'll start watching some baseball. I'm an Orioles fan for the AL, mostly because of my dad, but we're just terrible this year. I mean, we just finally got 20 wins, I think, on Saturday. But between hockey and, I'll even say college, because college starts before the NFL. What do you guys do? How do you guys spend your weekends with that empty void there now? Me, I just play NHL 18 and Madden now. And speaking of that, with King finally got one, so I gotta play him and show him a thing or two with NHL 18, especially with 19 coming out. Can't wait till that comes out, especially with the one new mode. One verse. Sounds like it would be total mayhem. But yeah, me and him have been even trying to get together with that to play with each other. But a little, speaking of NFL, training camps even, starting up in the next month, 2 months or so. Jameis Winston was in the news this past week, possibly being suspended. No set length, but the rumor is 3-game suspension for the incident back in 2016 that he got investigated for groping a Uber driver. I just don't understand some of these players. Like, you're in public, everybody's got a cell phone that's gonna try to capture you and doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. Why put yourself out there like that? I mean, especially now, he's probably, I think this is his 4th year going in. He's probably about 26 years old now. I mean, he should be matured enough now to know what to do. I know Tampa Bay back in May picked up the 5th-year option on him, but what do they do with him? Supposedly raped a girl before the draft, and now this, and the whole shoplifting thing in college as well. Is it time to move on? Is he worth the headaches? This past season wasn't that great. Granted, the whole team wasn't that great, so you can't put all the blame on him. But as the face of the franchise, you're the first one to fall on the sword. And all these headaches that he brings, is it worth it? I personally thought coming out of college, between him and Mariota, I was hoping Philly traded all the way up to get Mariota. I thought he was a better quarterback, even though he was, with Oregon and more of the spread offense compared to Winston. And I really think he only had one good year so far. That was last year, I believe it was. This year, his numbers were down. And a young kid like that, though, you need a good running game. Mike Evans wasn't that great this year. And from the sound of it, him and his head coach weren't even on the same page. So, I mean, the main thing for a young quarterback to blossom and become something good, him and his head coach, or at least his quarterback coach, has to be on the same plane. Learn from each other. I mean, just look at, I know I'm a big Eagles fan, and I keep bringing that up a lot, but look at Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson and I forget his first name, but Flip, the quarterback coach from last year. I mean, Carson Wentz was on pace for MVP season until he blew his knee out, and that's only his second year in. So even with him, it's gonna be interesting to see how his knee responds, which they're all saying he's gonna be ready for week 1, which I still don't see that happen. I kind of hope they don't let him start week 1, because you rush him back too quick, blows his knee out again, and your career's done. But difference between Wentz and Jameis is when you do see Wentz in the news, it's all for the good things. I think he helped build a sports complex overseas, like over Africa or something like that, where he's got Winston here groping female Uber drivers. Like, come on, dude, grow up. You're in the NFL. You're making millions of dollars. His 5th-year options was for, I think, $20 million. Where else are you going to make that much money? Nowhere. The only other sport out there that makes that much money per year would be baseball. It sickens me to see like a guy like this that has a little bit of talent. He's nothing great, but he could play in the NFL. He's nothing great though, and he's throwing it all away. So, we'll see within the next week or so what the NFL says as far as the length of the suspension. I think he already said he's not going to appeal it, so I'm assuming that to me, when you say that, you're basically just saying, he's admitting he's guilty. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens there. Another thing happened this past week, which I was really excited about. I tweeted out to you guys from the Stay Tuned Sports Twitter handle. Bare knuckle boxing is back again. August 25th, I believe it was. On pay-per-view again. And the last one, last month when they had it, I'm telling you, it was so fun to watch. And for only $30, it was well worth it. Curious to see if they're gonna up it now, since it's starting to take on taking some motion now. I was actually even more excited too that one of the boxers that I picked to win commented back to me and everything, so I had a little conversation with him there. That was pretty cool. But I don't think any fighters were named yet. I definitely would love to see Beck Rollins back again. She was entertaining to watch. She just outclassed the girl. Hope they change the commentators. I know Angela Hill from UFC was commenting to I guess it would be like the CEO or the president of bare knuckle boxing, and asking about comment or being a commenter, which would be, like I said, just put someone in there that knows the rules and it's entertaining to keep it going. The Bellator female fighter, her last name's Hardy, she commented that she would like to do it. And I know she was a professional boxer before she became MMA, so I would like to kind of see her in there, see how that goes also with her. Some of the fighters from the last one they had in June, Maurice Jackson, I think was his name. He used to play football, I believe, for was it for Seattle? They said it on the show, but yeah, he's a former player. And who else? I mean, who else would you guys like to see fight? I'm curious to see what your guys' response would be, to that. But yeah, I'm sure more details are gonna be coming out within the next couple weeks. You figure August 25th. It's only it's only 2 months away. So I mean, you gotta give fighters enough notice to know who they're training for and stuff like that. So hopefully, within the next couple, week or two, we get some more info on that. Little UFC talk. We got UFC. I believe they said tomorrow morning, which I thought it was tomorrow night. I was gonna do some live tweeting, but I actually have work tomorrow morning, so I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm kind of upset because Cowboy Cerrone is fighting. I really like him. He's tough as nails. He might be getting a little older now, so I think his last fight he got knocked out. So I'm curious to see if is he in that part of his career now that he has a glass jaw. We don't know. We'll see about that. One person that is part of UFC now, and it kind of sickens me, is Greg Hardy. He was on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, I think they call it, and he knocked out one of the heavyweights in like a minute or whatever. Everybody's making a big deal about, he knocked someone out, blah, blah, blah. These are all, yes, they're pros, but they're underground circuit type guys. Greg Hardy's only had a handful of fights under his belt. He's not a Randy Couture or Alistair Overeem or Stipe Miocic. They would all run through him like nothing. I'll tell you this, and I said this when Dana White signed him. I would love to see Brock Lesnar fight him. Not because he's a scrub, but because of his past. I understand everybody messes up and deserves a second chance and all that stuff, but you don't hit women. I would love to see Brock Lesnar fight him before John Jones uses this punching bag as a tune-up fight to knock some of the ring rust off, and then go with John Jones. I'm a big Lesnar fan, but I'm sorry, I think Jones will destroy him. One of Lesnar's downfalls, one, he's older, so he'd probably get knocked out a lot easier, and he leads with his head like he's tackling somebody when he goes to try to take someone down. Jones is tall and lengthy. All he has to do is pick up his knee once and connect it to his head, and Lesnar's out and done. I think it would be a bloodbath if Lesnar fought John Jones. As far as the rest of the UFC card, though, I'm not too sure who else is on there. Like I said, I only saw Cowboy was on there. Well, good luck to him. Hope he pulls out the win. But I think that's gonna be it for us this week. A little bit slower week, this time, but hopefully another week. Me and King are working on, like I said, we're working on this issue that we're having. I was playing around with one of the things, during the week, and we'll figure it out. But you can follow us on Twitter at ST Sports Podcast. I'm on there a lot, doing some live tweeting during any sporting events like UFC, bare knuckle boxing. When football starts, I'll probably be doing some of that. Who knows, maybe me and King will be both doing that. Follow King at King of Skunk Duck. Check him out there. Check out some of the shirts he has. He has some. I think this week he made one with a pirate drinking, like a skull type looking. It was pretty nice. Check him out there. You can follow me at Jimbo ST Sports. Check us out on Facebook. You can hear us on iTunes, Google Play. If you have an Android, you can actually just search us. You don't have to worry about using any apps. But if you have an iPhone, you have to use the Podbean app. or you could just go right to the Podbean website with your computer. And we just recently got added to iTunes this past week as well. So you could listen to past episodes, or the newest one, which will drop within the next morning. So with that all being said, I'll see you guys next week. It's your good friend Jimbo. See you later.